Right, so another brew day, and we found another big Oaty NEIPA 8% that we made. And it's called Oats in the Water from Roach Brewing. I found it on Brewfather. 22 litre volume we made. These numbers are a little bit off because it adds points for oats, which actually doesn't add anything. So I've got the numbers bang on, which I'll run through. But big grain bill, 7 kilos of pale malt, nearly 2 kilos of oats. Got rice husks in here just so it didn't get stuck, and 310 grams of carapils. We've got Citra Mosaic and Simcoe. It's basically just to flame out hops or hops at the hop stand, and the rest of them as a dry hop addition. And then we've just got the water treatments as per normal that we use for our NEIPAs. 2 packets of the Verdant dry yeast, which is awesome. So here we are, just bringing all the water into the main kegel. We use a Guten 50. I put all my water in there and do my water treatments first up. So we've got 2 Camden tablets and all the salts that we'll put in there, which is as per the recipe. And I normally put this in here, and I just sort of turn the pump on for a bit, just to recirculate everything. The last thing I'll add in here in a sec is a bit of phosphoric acid, which just brings the pH down to where we need to. So that'll go in there as well. So I normally turn the pump on, give it a bit of a recirc, and then I normally connect the pump over to the kegel and pump out water for sparging later. So this is just me pulling the water out that we'll bring back in later on when we sparge at the end of the mash. So monster grain bill came in the mail. It's heavy, 7 kilos of that malt, of the pale malt there. We're doing lactose in this thing as well. I've got a kilo of lactose. We didn't use all of it, but most of it. 2 Verdant IPAs, 2 packets of Quick Oats. There's the rice husks and the 3 bags of 500 gram hops that I got this week, which is cool. We'll use those for some other brewers as well. So it's just getting all the grains into the bucket, and I sort of spread it out. There's a lot of grain, so I sort of put some in of one, then some oats. And again, doing 2 kilos of oats in this bad boy, about 20% of the grain bill, just in oats, because we're really loving these Oaty NEIPAs. So there's a packet of oats in there. We then got the carapils going in there as well, and we'll just put the rest of the stuff in there. This, when I filled it all up, actually got to the top of the bucket, so it was just loads and loads and loads of grains. I didn't put the rice husks in with it. I'd separated the rice husks at the end, and I sort of progressively put that in as we started filling it up, just so it sort of, had a bit of it going through all of it. I didn't want to get it stuck. It was such a big grain bill, and I've never done one this big before. I didn't want to have a problem, and I didn't. It went pretty smooth. Well, everything went perfectly all day pretty much. So it's just filling up the rest of the grains to the top, and that was our grain bill. So this is what it looks like. It's real pale colour, lots of oats in there. If this turns out like some of my other recipes that we've done, we are going to be in for a banger. I get this stuff pre-milled. I don't have a mill, so it just comes to me in the mail already milled, and there's those rice husks again. So I try to get a better view this time of just how this operates. So just putting the tube inside, and I just push it down with the paddle just to make sure it seats well. Here's the consistency of those rice husks. We had about 400 grams, I think, 450 grams of rice husks that we put in with it. So here we go, ready to rock. So I thought I'd crack a mountain culture just before we kicked off, because why not? We're making a beer, may as well have a good one. And I really love these beers that this company makes, so we're trying to get something as close as we can to that. So, we're just coming up to temperature now. I fast-forwarded this because it took a little bit longer, but it's just progressively just putting in husks and then more grain, and that telescopic arm's all the way up the top. You can see I've got a little helper in my daughter Charlie there's come out. But, starting to mix this in, progressively making sure there was no clumps, more grain, more rice husks, in a second, more grain and more rice husks. So look, I probably was doing this for about 10 minutes just to get the consistency right. It was pretty close to being full to the top. I don't think I'd go much bigger than that. This thing can do double batches apparently, but this is going to be an 8% beer. So all these grains just to get all the sugars out of it. But Sort of gave it a really good mix up. There were no real clumps by the time I got it, all sorted. But yeah, for a pretty big first time grain bill this size, I was pretty happy with it. So we put the screen on top, brought the pump back on, and just turned that circ on just a little bit, just to get a little bit of it going. I didn't want to go too hard too early. Oh, by the way, boys, this is the can of courage my wife's put outside. She's telling me that all the homebrew we're purchasing, some of you boys have to start tipping in a few dollars when you come over and have a few beers at my place because we're going through too much. So, yeah, stick some coins in the can next time when you come over. So, yeah, started recirculating. Recirculating was perfect. It's about 15 minutes in, taking a pH reading. We put the acid in at the beginning to try and bring the pH down. This was sort of around 540 something. I think it was 548 or 549. Put a little bit more, couple of drops in there, and I tested it a little bit later, and I got it exactly where I want it to be. So it's great. So back over, we're just sort of starting to get stuff ready in the background here. We're starting to take some readings just to see how the gravity's going. These refractometers are awesome. If you haven't got one, grab one. It's just really easy to check. And my boy came over the other day. His brother's got a company called BC Jerky. I'm telling you, this stuff, never really had a lot of jerky, but this guy is a demon at this stuff. So if you want to grab some really nice jerky, check it out. BC Jerky. It was super good. Chili was too hot for me, but so at the end of the mash here, just doing a mash out, bringing it back up to 77 degrees. And here was the fun part. So I went around to the other side thinking I'm just going to pick out this monster grain bill out of here, and it was fucking heavy, really heavy. So I sort of gave it a go and thought, let's reassess. So I come back around and got up on the top and lifted it up from the top. And I needed to, because it was really, once you get it up to your chest, it's hard to lift it up from there. It's just like lifting a dead wet weight. So I got it up pretty easy, standing up on the top. And let that started to drain out, and gee did it drain. There was loads of that coming out of there. So here's the top of it. It was a heavy flow, which was awesome. It was just flowing straight down back into the kettle. So it's now time to, in the background we heated this up to about 77 degrees, and we just basically 7.5 litres straight over the top that we put back in, and that worked perfectly. It drained out fine. So just bringing it up to the boil now. We can just let that, sparge for a while and just drain into the kettle. This was funny. My mate sent it to me halfway through. Me trying to have a normal life, Kegland. This is supposed to save money, but this is not happening. So here's the grains that come out after we finished, and bring this up to a boil. If you want to see how much comes out, well, lots. And I always put this in plastic bags. Didn't put this in plastic bags before to get rid of it in the bin, and if you don't, you'll have maggots in your bin in a day or so. So I really just get this in the bag. It caused a bit of a mess on the floor, but there's a lot of grain in there to get away. So boil come up pretty quickly, and it's very rapid in this. It's a 15 amp machine. This 3000 watts. So the boils are really, really solid. This is the colour of it. It's just perfect. Exactly what we're chasing. Really light coloured, deeds and mountain culture style. This is just, again, just taking some more gravity readings throughout. Well, sort of the numbers were coming right where we wanted them to be. I'll show you where we ended up at the end here. We've got about 21 minutes left in the boil, so we started to get the bits and pieces ready. So we put 750 grams of lactose in this oat cream. We've got the hops that we're putting in there as well, which we're going to put those in a whirlpool, and the yeast nutrient that we'll put in this as well. So here's the lactose going in. Doesn't really do much when you pop it in there. It's non-fermentable. I normally put it in here 15 minutes to go. Just obviously sanitizes everything. Here's the look at the fancy camera work. We were bang on 1070. It's where we wanted to be. So this is going to be a big beer, boys. It'll be the 8% that we're chasing, or just under. In the very, very high sevens. End of the boil. Put the whirlpool arm on. I was going to cube, but we did such a good job last time doing a whirlpool here, even though we've got a blockage and I haven't got the helix coming yet, which I'll change soon. But the whirlpool is on. Bit of air that comes through the pump first. Get the whirlpool on, and we waited till we got this down to 95 degrees. I've just read a fair bit of stuff saying that you don't want to leave it out too long. And I get about 20 minutes if we put it in at 95 and get it in just above 80. It works pretty well. So we're just taking a couple of temperatures here, just getting it to that 95 degrees, and then pumping those hops in there. So here goes the hops. There's 120 grams here that we've put in of the 3 hops in the recipe, and we just let that whirlpool out. The smell of that's pretty mad when you stick it in, but I just love seeing that spinning around. It was I think I'll probably whirlpool most of the time. I just kept a really good close eye on this. We're at 86 degrees now. We're probably at 20 minutes in, and this is us draining in the cube. So with the cube, we basically just had to pump out again because of the blockages we get on the bazooka screen. You can see here, there's probably a better view that this started rolling for a while, and then probably about a minute, and then it blocked. So I already had the pump back on there ready to deal with it if it did. That gets quite hot in those silicone tubes as well. So once that blocks, I sort of turned it off, and got the pump on the arm, just sanitizing everything as well, just being super careful and getting that in the cube and pumping that out. I think we're about 84 degrees here. And that's just me, put a clamp on there, which was easy, filled it up, we got the numbers bang on. We filled this cube up right to the brim. Capping, all up in the handle and right up to the top, which was perfect. So yeah, but we're still above 80, about 82. Just sanitizing absolutely everything, even though it's sanitized in there with the boiling hot wort. We're just being over careful. Put the cap on, get that cap on, get it on nice and tight, and then just tip it over once it's up, just to get all that stuff underneath the handle and just be super careful. So here's just the tipping on the side now. So that's another brew day. Perfect. So I'll feed back and let you know how we go. I'm only 6 months into brewing, but we're going 1,000 miles an hour and having a blast. So thanks for watching, guys.